Welcome to Beyond the Box. Our guests are insiders that are now out and on our side, dropping nuclear intel and breaking it down just for you. And now it's time to introduce our hosts, Brenda Lankridge and Suzanne Haunt. Join us and subscribe for weekly shows. Beyond the Box begins now. Let's jump in.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Box. Tonight we are going to do creepy locations, just because I felt like it was a good time. I could be wrong, but we'll see. And I'm not sure where Susie is, if she's coming or not. She might join us a little bit later. I think I did send her the link. So Sherry, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. I have electricity, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I heard a whole bunch of people there didn't have electricity.
Yeah, here, I guess up in Canada too. I was listening to some of that last night. Yeah.
Really?
It's crazy. Yeah, crazy storms everywhere.
Man, look at me. I can't even type right, Denise. Look, I did it again. What the crap?
I can see it.
What it is, I got the lights down and I cannot see. So, yeah. Look at there.
3 times is a charm.
Yeah, 4 or 5 maybe with me sometimes. I don't know.
I think we all.
But yeah, the storms have been nuts. It said it was supposed to rain here all week, but it didn't start raining at 4 o'clock in the morning like it was supposed to. So, like I said, I'm hoping that our weather guy is just wrong, because I don't want to put up with all that rain. Then I get water that comes in the house, and I'm beyond it. So it's a pain.
No more boat rides.
Yeah, I told Susie, I need to come borrow your canoe just to get around the house. Just to go to the bathroom, I'll be canoeing around the house. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Hi, Jason. So I put together this show to talk about some of the creepy locations that are around. The first ones that I'm going to start with are light work, basically. So I thought that I know that there are like really creepy places all over the place, but I thought I would start here in the United States. So I looked up some stuff in Alabama, and Alabama's got some pretty good stuff. It's not quite as bad as, per se, Waverly Hills or different places like that, but we will get to those eventually. So tonight I want to talk about 3 different, I think there's 3 or 4 different ones. One of them is the Maple Hill Cemetery. Then there's the Darsh House. And then we've also got Sloss.
That's a hard one.
Yeah. And if you don't know what that is, I'll explain it to you. And then we got the Gaines Ridge Diner. And a place called Fort Morgan. Now, the first one that I want to talk about is the Maple Hill Cemetery. It was established in 1818, and it's in Huntsville. And it's one of the oldest cemeteries, and it's got about 80,000 grave sites there.
Wow.
So you can imagine being there. There's probably a lot of activity for people who are sensitive to that stuff. But what interests me about this cemetery is not only the sightings that people have had, but the fact that it is connected to, or sits right close to, a playground, like an old playground. Now, this old playground has a lot of activity. People see the swings moving on their own. Some people can debunk that as being wind, but other people say that they actually see the spirits of children running around and playing in this little park. It is old, you can tell. I'm going to bring it up so people can see it. And it's got all of the old stuff in it. The swings, the old slide. Well, I think it's like the old metal slides, I should say, like we used to have. So this is it right here. And it's got all these little swings, and then it's got the little climby thing with that. But people say that, I'm not exactly sure if these spirits are from the cemetery next to it, because it doesn't say whether it is. But with 18,000 headstones there, there's got to be some children, I guess. And what better place to put a playground than next to a cemetery where the children can come and play. So I'm not sure if they built it for those kids.
Oh, that'd be creepy.
Well, some people I like to engage with spirits when they're around. And now, if they're children, a lot of people will give them toys, or, try to speak to them and leave them teddy bears and stuff like that. So it would make sense to me. I mean, if I had the property and it was mine, I would donate it to the cemetery to put different things in. Benches, a little playground, different stuff like that.
Yeah. Or that's maybe why they did it, when families going with their kids to the cemetery,
Right.
They got someplace for them to play as well. And probably the spirits of children see real, live children playing. Maybe they remember and they go to play there too. Could be a possibility.
Right. Yeah. So it's an interesting fact. I don't know. I mean, I've never been there. I would think it would be interesting just to at least go to the cemetery. I mean, 80,000 grave sites. That's got to be
huge.
A lot of activity, I would think.
A big place too. I'm trying to imagine how big, how vast, how many acres. That's
right.
How old, how I like looking at the ages of the tombstones. Are they from the 1800s? Are they older? Are they 1900s?
Yes. We have one here out in Waco I stumbled across by accident. And it's not a very big one. It's got the big wrought iron gates out in front and everything else. But I was in there looking around, and they had tombstones from the 1800s. I even think I found a couple of, late 1700s, early 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was quite an interesting place. It really was. And it was run down, dilapidated, but you could still make out all the names and dates on the headstones.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So the next one that I want to talk about is the Derish House. Now, the Dersh house has been a site, allegedly has supernatural events that have been happening there, such as fires that people say that they see. There's been ghostly lights from the house. Now, since the early 20th century, these hauntings are all believed to have been after the owners of the house, Sarah Dasher died, or Darsher died. Now, she died in 1884, and her husband died in 1867. Now, the story behind that house is when her husband had passed away, I guess back then they used to put candles, for the funerals. And so after his funeral, she had gone around, she blew them all out, and she took them home. And she had told everybody, when I pass away, I want you to use these candles at my funeral.
Mm.
She felt that if the same candles were used, that they could reconnect her and her husband.
Okay.
So, sweet thought. So, as the few years went by, when she did finally pass away, nobody could find those candles anywhere.
No.
So, they had to have her funeral without it. So now they say that it seemed like let me bring it up and show you so that you guys know what it looks like. It is, it's kind of creepy a little bit. I think it's creepy. But there is a loft type thing up on top of the house. Kind of looks almost like a steeple. And there it is. And apparently up here in the top of this little house where the square thing is with the windows, people would see like flames burning, a silhouette of somebody walking around. There's been people that have seen a woman outside, an apparition of a woman outside walking around with a candle lit. So kind of makes me wonder this. If she knew that if those candles were going to reconnect her and her husband, and they didn't use those specific candles, is it possible that her spirit is wandering around with a candle still looking for her husband?
Yeah, that could be.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah,
Now-
like unfinished business, they used to say.
Yes.
Some spirits have unfinished business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people say, now that house has stood by itself since she passed away. I think they have people that are upkeeping it because it looks pretty good for not having anybody living in it.
Yeah.
So it might be her family that is actually keeping it. But they say that when you go inside, they'll hear footsteps, they'll hear doors closing, the normal paranormal stuff that happens. So her children think that it's her.
Sounds
So
like
they'll
it.
go in and they'll talk to her. And every time that they go in, they always tell her that they're so sorry they could not find those candles. And they eventually went up into that room and they found them in a chest that she had up there packed away. So now they take the candles and they set them around the house, unlit, but they're there. And they said that the activity is still around, but it's not as often or as bad as what it was. But when people go in there, they'll feel somebody touch them, So I think she's still lingering around there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
I mean, I always say when people say something to me, I always tell them, "Oh, you better shut up. I'm going to come back and haunt you when I die."
I've said that. I've said that, and even in high school to my friends, because we lost some people, and I'm like, you better, if you can't be nice to me when I'm live, don't come to my funeral crying, because I
Yeah,
will come and haunt you. You need to be nice to me when I'm alive. Don't
that's what I always say.
don't
And
wish
it,
I woulda coulda. It's too late.
yeah, I always tell my daughter, she'll say, "Mama, I don't know what I'm going to do when you die," and I'm like, "Well, I'll still be there because if you think I'm letting you off that easy, you're nuts." You know,
Paranoid, like,
it's just the way it is. Just saying.
you talk to your daughter like I do mine. My kids know stuff like
Well,
that too.
when you spend so much time with your kids telling you, "Mom, you're crazy." Oh, well, okay, let me show you a little crazy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the way it is. Now, there's a very interesting place out there in Alabama, and it's called Sloss Furnace. I am having a hard time saying that word, but it's an old furnace place that was like it's a historical landmark out there now. And it was transformed into a coal plant or from a coal plant. And what they did was they would come in there and they would melt metal. And this place has been standing since 1882, and it was ran from 1882 until 1971. And they used it for, melting down metal. They used it in wars. They used it in everything. Okay. And they nicknamed the place where it's at Magic City. So in this one here, the guy who was, I guess he was like the head manager there. And he wanted to impress the owners. So he would make his workers take dangerous risk, resulting in 47 of the workers passing away and losing their lives. But he was still, pushing everybody. And that man, in 1906, his name was Wormwood, was his last name. And they say that he had lost his footing at the top of one of the heights, and a blast from the furnace made him plunge into the pool of melted iron. I guess it's iron they were making, not metal, Brenda. So they say that he reported that he was dizzy from the gases in the furnace. But a lot of people believe that it was the workers that had passed away there that had pulled him in. I'm not sure, but they say that it is an extremely haunted place. They say that people go through there all the time. It's a landmark, and they do have people that come in and see it. It's old and rusted. I'm pretty sure you probably should have a tetanus shot before you walk in there. But they say that they hear the screaming of the men. This person that they believe, this Wormwood, that he is still there, and people will sense him getting up in their face, and it's almost like he's trying to yell at them. So apparently he's still trying to recruit people to work.
Wow.
So, yeah, I don't know what kind of angle this is. I tried to find some more photos on this, but it's the only one I get. And it looks like the little knobbies or those things on the ground, but
yeah, it's like an old refinery. I can see it.
Yeah, it's like an old refinery where they melted down iron, and it's still standing. I don't think they build things as well as they did back then.
Oh, they made things to last back then.
Yeah.
Now
even
it's make
cars.
it to break it to go buy more.
Right. High techs. But this one here, they say, is still pretty haunted. Like I said, apparently that old supervisor dude was in there just still trying to do his job decades later.
So did like the other people that worked there and died, did they die while he was their boss? That
Yes,
oh, and he was so brutal to them. Did they die on the property too, or
yes,
just oh,
yes.
oh, they
Um,
died on the property. Wow.
well,
Okay,
back
that's
in the 1800s, like
yeah.
it says that they had people that had lost limbs,
Oh,
been burned, but back then they
yeah.
didn't really know how to deal with when you lost a limb. They would stick a piece of wood in it and
Yeah.
throw a rag around it. So I imagine some of these people died from their injuries,
Right.
from like infection and different things like that.
Well,
But
they
there was a few that burned up from it.
oh yeah. Well, when they had the industrial revolution here, they were doing all this, but there were so many people that died.
Yeah,
Because you didn't know, and now we have learning restrictions, OSHA. um
yep.
wow.
Could you imagine working for OSHA and going into a metal building and seeing nothing but rust coming from divots,
Yeah,
and stuff like that? I would be like, ew,
yeah,
I need to clean this up.
that's kind of that's interesting that he left it, but in the same aspect, it's like, what do you do with it besides do tours?
Yeah. I mean, it's a landmark. I mean, I can think of better things to make into a landmark.
I know. Yeah, it's like woo. It's gonna rust down to nothing eventually.
Eventually. Eventually, it just might.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. I mean, I would never really take a child into a place that has got
Yeah.
activity anyways, because children are more sensitive to it anyhow.
They're drawn. I mean, they're like moss. They're so bright lights that they
Yes.
just, yeah, no.
So so I guess it's a good thing, because I really wouldn't want to take my child into an old metal building. I would be afraid to go in there myself,
Yeah.
but it's interesting, and I keep going back to the fact that, you know, spirits can attach themselves to things, to buildings, to home, to people, any kind of object.
Oh, yes.
And there's a lot of people that don't believe in that, but I've seen it firsthand. So, you know, believe it or not, hey, I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just telling you it is there.
You
And
know,
I try to tell people a lot of times, like, they'll be talking about a relative they have that passed away. Be careful what you say, because 9 times out of 10 that relative hears you.
yes, they do.
So, yeah. So, I mean, people just don't think.
No, they think it's superstition, because like when we were brought up, like, oh, that's superstition, or oh, that's this, they always kind of like brush it off, like, oh, it's nothing. Oh, and it's like, well, it's real. I had a friend that didn't believe in that until they had some activity going on in their house. And I'm like, well, you did this. You shouldn't have. You did that. You didn't want to listen to me. Now you need a preacher to come and, clean out your house. So,
That's
and she
right.
did. She found one, to come, and she's like, you try to fair warn people, but some have to
Yeah,
learn the hard way because they don't want to believe you
that's
until it
true.
happens. And then they're like, "Oh my gosh." And then
Yeah, a lot of times people don't believe if they've never had an interaction, which I understand. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I sometimes think those people are lucky.
oh, they
I
are.
really do.
I mean, the way I grew up, they,
Yeah,
I'm like, what's a night's sleep? you know.
yeah, exactly. Well, I figured it out at a young age. You have to set those boundaries, because if you don't, because even you have to put boundaries on spirits like you do people.
Oh yeah.
And for the most part, they usually do pretty good at it. Um, and it's so normal to me half the time I can tune it out unless they just get really annoying.
Right.
And then it's like, you're in my personal space and on my time, not now. I'm sorry, but I cannot.
Right.
So it's and I don't look at what I know and what I see. I mean, I know that they're God-given abilities, but sometimes I do look at it as a curse.
Oh yeah,
Because
because you don't
it's,
have other people to share it because nobody believes you or sees what you see or hears what you hear, and they're like,
yeah. Well, the good thing about it, like this community here, and I have found a lot that do, like Dennis Carroll, he knows,
yes,
so it's okay now. When I was younger, it was hard. You could never tell anybody anything because my mother would be like, "They're gonna put you in a crazy home."
oh, that was. I think that was their every parent back then's thing. You were gonna go into a crazy home if you did this. You're gonna or
Right.
juvie. It was either crazy place or juvie.
Yeah. Now, the next place that we have on the calendar over here in Alabama is a place called Gaines Ridge Diner Club. Now, the Gaines Ridge Diner Club has been named the most haunted restaurant in all of Alabama. And it's located inside of a beautiful 1820s home. The restaurant is known for that it's a family, and it has a family of ghosts included.
Oh,
There's a woman that goes around screaming and calling out. She floats past the windows. The ghostly reflections of a tall man, tall bearded man. He goes by there. They see him. Several guests have also reported hearing, the screams and cries of a baby. Yeah. It smells apparently like pipe smoke, and they don't smoke in there. Well, these ghosts, and they say that the ghosts there are actually harmless. Okay. And I think to myself, well, who wants to eat with somebody yelling in your face? It's not there. But the fact that the house is so old, but it is actually very pretty. And it's this one here with the squared columns. I wouldn't think that would be a restaurant. I would think that would be somebody. But they converted it into a restaurant, which I guess is good because, the ghosts don't have to look at the same people over and over again. They look at the people that come in there and eat. They see the people that work there. It's for that reason.
Well, people probably want to go there to eat just to experience if they don't believe it too. That's would be an interesting way to get people to come to your restaurant too. It's like, yeah, you might get a little screaming along with your salad.
So they say that the ghosts there are pretty harmless, but they do make a lot of racket. They've been known to break dishes. They've been known to tip over trays that the waitresses have when they're bringing the food to people.
Oh no. I used to be a waitress. I would not want that.
Can you explain that? Please let me go make you another plate.
And that would be mortified.
I would be thinking maybe I need to order something else because apparently the ghost did not want me to eat that.
Yeah, that's true. Wow.
So, but they do that. There's been glasses that have been tossed, things on the table that have been, like when they close up and they leave. You know how every restaurant cleans everything and they put the salt and pepper shakers and everything out. They've come in back during the day to open up the restaurant, and that stuff has been pushed out on the floor.
Ugh,
and it's been they have to go around and pick everything up again. So it sounds like they have got cantankerous ghosts. I don't know exactly where the baby came from. I do know that they say back in the early 1800s there was a family there, a husband and wife and 3 children. It doesn't say anything about a baby, but it does say that there were 3 small children. So maybe that's what they're saying might be a baby cry.
right.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not quite sure on that because it didn't elaborate on it. But um,
So
there is, huh?
if it's a family, what happened to the family? Like if it's a mom, dad, and kids, did
You
they all
know,
like die
yeah.
there?
I guess apparently they lived there for a long time, and supposedly there was some kind of a gas leak,
Oh,
and I guess the whole family passed away from it, which is common. A lot of times when you use gas for heat and cooking and all of that, it can happen. You have to have that stuff tested. And back in the 1800s, they didn't really have monitors to be able to detect that stuff.
right,
So, you know, it's a sad case when something like that happens and your whole family is gone.
right. That's why I was wondering with the kids and if it all happened there, and that's why they're still
Yeah,
there.
I would like to hope that they are all together. If they're going to be there, they would be all together.
Right.
Um, it doesn't say. It just says they see a man, a woman, and they hear a child
Mm.
crying. So, or a baby, they say. So, I think that I want to go back and do a little more research on some of those and get in depth on what years certain things like that happened, because when I was looking it up, it just gives you the information that it wants to give you. Like it doesn't tell you a whole lot. You have to do a little bit of digging to get it.
Right. Right.
So I think that I don't know. Google is so screwed up. I got to find something else to be able to look things up on because it's ridiculous.
Well, I'm just wondering if like since if it was a house and then they made it into a restaurant because there's spirits there, they're fine until soon as you start to fix a room, change something,
Yes.
it always stirs up because they don't like things being rearranged or done.
Right.
They still believe it's their space.
Yes. And a lot of spirits do not, they don't like change. You know, when people buy some of these places, I think that's one of the reasons, like some of the sanitariums and stuff, I think that they don't do a lot to fix it up because there are spirits already there that they know they're there, and they don't want to really rustle them up too much. So if you ever notice when they do like these ghost hunting things and they go into these places, they still look pretty dilapidated and
Oh yeah.
all that. So it's I mean, I wouldn't want to change anything if I'm not buying it to be able to turn it into a place where I'm going to stay or make it a restaurant or do this or do that. I probably wouldn't want to change a lot. Maybe fix a step or two if it's broken, you know. But even holes in the wall, I mean, you don't know where that hole came from. It may have been a pissed off spirit that threw something, you know, and that's been known to happen too. So
Yeah, I
it's
worked at a haunted restaurant. I mean, I didn't see things, but like when we come into work and the kitchen staff would complain about like a mustard jar being open and then the mustard just
oh
across the thing, and where we had the bottle room, the one basement had a dirt floor, and it was pretty spooky in the corner over there. Manager shut the light off one time when me and one of the other servers was down there, and she screamed and screamed, and I was like, I can't believe you did that. I'm gonna get you back, But it was great. It was always spooky down there, and there was dirt footprints, and part of the building in the corner there was like rocks, and it was weird. Um,
Have you ever been in anywhere where you have seen like small footprints, like up a wall where it shouldn't be?
I didn't have it up a wall. I mean, I've had them across my rug, but
I heard somebody say something about that once, and my thought was they were saying, well, I guess a really tall person could put their kid on the wall and make the footprints, but they looked like they were shoe prints. They weren't footprints. And I don't think that a spirit walks around in shoes.
no.
Not really one that I've ever seen. So I kind of tossed on that. Knowing what I know, and like I said, if I don't see it myself, I'm like, huh, how is this possible?
Right.
We have a lot of gooners out there that will turn around and just sit there and be like, oh yeah, look at these footprints going up the wall. And it's like, but those are little shoes. What how did that get there?
Attention. They need attention. Some people like to have attention, I guess.
Yeah. Jason said that he has seen footprints up the side of a tub. Yeah.
Ew.
I can see that.
Yeah, that creeps me out because thinking of them, those movies, them coming up the drain, out the drain of the tub. Yeah.
Don't they usually start out as like it looks like some kind of a goo coming up, and then it
Yes.
into something?
Yep.
Well, except for like it. Didn't he just stick his fingers in and open the drain and just pop his head out?
I don't know. I never watched that. I don't like clowns. I just no clowns for me. No, that's
I'm a big time horror flick person, and I used to own almost everything that Stephen King made. I even still have Stephen King books, and just a whole lot of stuff. I actually used to put in Rose Red and just go to sleep to it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, see, I've seen some, but I'm just not one to go, yeah, it's a horror movie, because it's like, I remember
when I started collecting them, I ran around all over the place trying to find Christine.
No, that was good. I seen that one. I mean, some of the Stephen Kings and I mean, back like in the 80s and stuff, some of them, after Jason, I don't know, 2, 3, 4. I never watched all the others. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's dead.
When they stretch them out like that, yeah, they're kind of ridiculous. I like the old original ones, and yes, Jason, I like Dreamcatchers too. That was good.
Did I see that one? Ooh, I don't know if I saw that one or not. There's certain ones that I'm kind of like, I kind of want to see it, but then I'm like, I don't know if I don't get nightmares or anything. It just something.
I'll tell you, I think that, and I don't scare real easy, but one of the movies that I seen that kind of gave me the creeps was The Grudge.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was the whole climbing down the stairs and holding its head, turning it all the way around, and just
yeah.
I mean, it was just it was
creepy.
Weird.
I saw the commercials. I never saw that one. But I did see that part, and that was creepy. I know what you're talking about now. I got a picture in my head. Yeah, that's no. I saw the commercials and was like, no, no.
I've seen quite a few of them. Matter of fact, there's hardly any horror flick that I have not seen. And I started off real young, believe it or not. Maybe I can handle it, but gory really messes me up. Yeah, well, I don't know. Call me a weird sense of humor, because to me, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
at the drive-in that we had, I kind of sort of saw it not, I guess. And I was just like, this is stupid. Left, I think, because it, I was 18, young, didn't want to have nightmare. I probably could have had nightmares back then. I really didn't watch. The one that scared me the most was Nightmare on Elm Street. That one, I was 17 years old because of the nightmares and not sleeping at night. And then I had one of those little phones I got from Time Magazine next. So if anyone dialed in the house, that phone would click. And that same night, it started click, 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 click. And I got up, searched the house, and
Oh no.
yeah. And then it was doing, I was like, I am not having no tongue coming out of my phone. I unjacked it, wrapped it up, threw it in a drawer. It was like, no.
So yank that thing out of the wall and say, forget about it.
Oh, that was weird. It was weird. It was, I mean, even when we came out of the theater, we were downtown, me and my girlfriend, and there was someone with a wig, a dude with a wig, and they kind of were turning their head like and watching us, and then was creepy. And we were like, and then we're running through a parking lot and we could hear scratch, so it, two 17-year-olds, freaked out from a movie.
And a lot of people, they don't like clowns.
No, I don't.
Me, they don't bother me. As long as I know that it's something that's not realistic, like, John Wayne Gacy, now that was a totally different thing. But like the clowns from It and, different stuff like that. Like when I was in Nevada, they have that clown motel that sits next to that cemetery.
Oh no, I don't
And
know
it's
about
got
that. Oh
clowns.
God.
It's got clowns everywhere. We're gonna do that one. That one's pretty cool.
Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah. And they say they got a big old clown that walks around, a spirit of a clown that walks around. But
Oh no.
that was I think that it being next to the cemetery is what kind of did it. So
that's kind of.
but it's a pretty interesting little place. I've been there.
Clowns scare me because I was 2.5 at the circus, and we were right up there. I remember watching the elephants and the lights going around, and all of a sudden this face pops right up in my face. A clown. It's dark with the spotlights. You're 2.5. That's scary. You don't know what just popped up. And ever since, my mom was like, you cried, screamed, and everything and wanted to go. So that's why I don't like clowns since I was 2.5.
Yeah. So the next one that we're going to talk about is a place called Fort Morgan. Now, Fort Morgan is a third system masonry fort, and it was built between 1819 and 1833. It served its purpose in the roles of the battles of Mobile Bay, Spanish-American War, World War I, and World War II. But okay. And many believe that the souls of all of them that perished there, they're still around. So it's kind of a strange looking little place, and people say that they see soldiers. They see just regular people that were like per se working there. Some people say that they think that it's like it's like it's not underground, it's kind of like built in a hill. But they also say that at one particular point in time, there was a woman who was attacked and left there. And it believes that she roams the fort searching for justice for the people that attacked her. So let me show you this little thing. And you would think to me, it kind of looks like a tunnel. Or something you would drive through, but apparently you do not. So it's this little thing right here, but you can see the light on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I guess they used it to hide in, maybe, or be able to transfer things so they would be under the ground so they couldn't get bombed, or, under that hill. But this one here is interesting to me because of what all it went through. So being around that long and going through that much stuff with the wars and different stuff like that, it has got to be probably pretty full of different spirits. They do see people that walk around on top where it goes up. They see people in the tunnel at the end where the light is. They hear this woman in there, but it's the only woman they hear because the rest of them are like spirits, apparitions of soldiers and different stuff like that. So, um, well, but I would think that doing an investigation there, first of all, you probably should do it at night.
Ooh.
I know. You say ooh. I just say that that's probably the best time to do it.
I could do that there. That could be easy. I just don't,
Yeah, it's kind of,
influence.
look, I'm in a wheelchair. That would be the only place I'd probably be able to get in and out of. I get so angry that I can't go to certain places because, well, they have steps, or, you know, you got to go upstairs to the third floor, fifth floor, wherever. So it's no fun for me. Now, this here, on the other hand, I could probably get in and out of, and I think it would be pretty interesting.
There's is there like a fort around there, or is it like on the back side of it, or is it just that tunnel?
It only shows that tunnel. I'm gonna have to find stuff in a different site when we do the next one, because this one doesn't give me a whole lot of photos. Let me check something. Hang on. Let's see. Yeah, no, it doesn't give me a whole lot. Um, it's kind of weird, but uh, so I'm gonna try to find a different site where I can get several pictures, of this, that, and the other thing, because I think that it would be a lot more fun to be able to look at it from both sides, see if anybody has got photos from the inside of it,
Right.
see what the walls are like or whatnot, because I'm not even sure what that's built of. I mean, it looks kind of like concrete and dirt, but I I I get tossed on how they made concrete stuff, in the 17 and 1800s. It's just weird. But I guess throwing together some clay and rocks and dirt, I guess you can probably come up with something pretty good.
Yes.
I do believe. But in that one there, it says that not only do they have the woman who runs around and they think that she is searching for the people who attacked her so she can get justice,
Hmm.
but it's got soldiers from World War One, World War Two, and that the Bay thing. Um, so there's a mixture of spirits from different eras. So when I mean, how does that? I kind of wonder sometimes if some spirits acknowledge other spirits. You know,
Yeah, I never thought of that because it's different timelines. First
right? And
World
that's
War,
what I
second.
mean.
Maybe it's layered. That's you know, like like World War I people are at this layer, then you got this one overlay. Depends
Right?
on what is happening energy wise or weather
Yes.
wise or people wise. I'm sure affecting pulling whatever up. Maybe I don't know.
Now,
Is there a montage?
right. Now I've seen some things where they've had like a main spirit, which has been like a bad spirit, and it holds the other spirits down.
Right. I do know that one. Yeah.
So, is it possible that they see each other?
I don't
Let's-
know. Usually, like the bad spirits holding are like weaker people or kids. I know that
Yes.
one.
Yes.
But I don't know, because if there's trauma there too, and there's a woman running around screaming for revenge, maybe somebody accidentally killed her or something,
Right.
did some harm. So that that can make sense. But the others, I don't understand. Do they see each
Well,
other? That's interesting. That's
yeah.
interesting to think about. Like, hey,
They walk, they float by each other. So
yeah,
keep
you're
going.
new, different era.
And when they do they see each other the way we would see them as an apparition? Do they notice that they would have different clothing?
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know.
I mean, the world of all of this that goes around, and you have the spirits of many people. And I heard somebody say, is it possible that a lot of spirits are all the way around us all the time? Not so much, because I would see them if they were there all the time.
Yeah.
I seen a lot more when I was younger. I guess because now I'm older and I'm stubborn, and I, tell them that they have boundaries, and, maybe they just don't bother me as much. I don't know. But if that is the case, and we have spirits all the way around us, do spirits meet each other when they don't know each other?
I've never thought of that either.
I mean, I'm just
That's
inquiring minds wanna
interesting.
know. I mean, inquiring minds want to know. I mean, I kind of wonder that sometimes. I've sat and I've thought about that. God, could you imagine you're a spirit and all of a sudden you see somebody else, you're like, hey, what's up? I mean, do they talk to each other?
I
Do
don't
they
know.
meet different spirits? I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how that would work because you have groups of people that die at the same time.
Yes.
And that's reasonable, but this one to be layered. But then again, we have, we've had so much war in so many different places. People go to Gettysburg. I know I
Yes.
have friends that go there and they can hear things and see things and from that time era, or I'm sure just other places where they've had any kind of war or any kind of killing and murders. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that our land, just like some of the houses, if they build the house, what was before the house? Was it what groups of people was before, or was there people?
Well, I think usually they're supposed to tell you, like, let's take, for instance, the Poltergeist. When they went to that development, supposedly there was a graveyard there, and they relocated all those people. Now, did they really?
Probably not.
Can you take a cemetery that has, look these ones, 80,000 grave sites. They've been there since the early 1800s. Okay, if you really take those and move their caskets somewhere else, does their spirit follow?
I don't know. Because some of them were supposed to be crossed over already, and
Some
did
of
the
them,
lingering ones. I think that they would be like the ones that are hanging out in their areas would be very upset and would go after because they've
well,
been
that's why you're not
disrupted.
supposed to do that.
Well,
But
yeah, you're not, and
some people are just stupid that way. They just kind of be like, we'll just
they
move
don't
these
care. They
people
don't
and give
believe
them
in
a new
that stuff.
home.
Yeah,
You know?
they don't believe in it.
Yeah, they can't say, I'm sorry, but see, the thing of it is with graveyards, back in the day before we started this whole taxes crap, they used to bury their loved ones on their own property.
Oh yeah,
Well, because they found out that they can make more money by set aside some property and make people bury them there and not at their homes. Because if you bury them on your property, then you no longer pay property tax.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's
Cemeteries don't pay property taxes for where they are.
okay.
So
That is new.
yeah, that is one of the reasons why they came up with cemeteries, because the government found a way to where they can still charge people property taxes on the property that they own. But I'm sorry, if I have enough property and I've got loved ones and I want to bury them on my property, I mean, that's just wrong to say they can't.
Right.
Elvis did it.
Yeah. I mean, they used to do it back. That was the thing. You know, you got some of those big old mansions with their own personal cemeteries in the back, you know. But that makes sense why you can't do that, because you got to make money, right? I guess.
Oh, so text says that spirits can see each other. And at one point, a spirit had come to him to tell him, oh, because there was another spirit that was hunting her. Well, yeah, that does happen. That I've heard of a lot. How you get like an overpowering spirit or a spirit of somebody who has just been a nasty person all of their lives. And that's what we were talking about. They go after, try to control or contain weaker spirits, younger children, what have you. So I can see that. You know, I really can see that. I personally have not ever had one come to me for that. Not quite sure how I would handle that. How did you handle that, Tex? I mean, the only thing I could say is if that bad spirit came with it, I could probably set the one free and then banish the bad one. I mean, that would be about the way that I think that would be the only way I can handle it. So I've never been faced with that. So, I mean, I've been faced with a lot of nasty spirits too. And ow. And they're really not any better than nasty people that you meet, but
they didn't change just the form.
Other than the fact that it's harder to get your hands on them, but yeah, I've never been faced with that. Let's see. And an angel I can call upon. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, that would be a very good idea. Call upon angels.
To have help.
Yeah.
I had my son do that when he was little with Archangel Michael. He had a backpack on with a leaf blower, and I'd have him go and suck out his whole room in the corners. And then I said, okay, it's all cleaned out. He's going to take them to the universe and take care of them in the most proper way for you. And how many angels do you want? You know, and sometimes he would go, I fill my room with 10, or he'd have 1,000. And I'm like, can you feel them? Are they coming? Or do you feel safer now? And he would sleep. He wouldn't get bothered as much.
And I imagine that, you know, a lot of prayer.
Yeah.
You know, just like you would whenever, like, I have encountered not really any at my home, anything bad at my home, but I have encountered them other places. And prayer does work, absolutely. You cannot taunt them. That's one thing you never want to do. If something is bad, you don't taunt it.
No, it makes it worse.
Yes, that's like a challenge to them, and the fight is on. So you don't ever taunt them, but you got to be firm with them and let them know exactly what it is that you want them to do. And if leaving is it, they need to go, and you've got to be firm with it, but you've got to do a lot of prayer. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
have to do a lot of prayer. Praying is a taunting in a way, but it's a taunting they cannot get through. You know,
Right.
grace of God will cover that, and they can't get through it. So it works out pretty good. So one of these days, I'm struggling so hard to try to be able to be roadworthy, where I can go to places. You know, my daughter's in Colorado now. She wants me to come and visit, but I want to go to Gettysburg. I've never been there.
I
I've
haven't either.
always wanted to go, and I think that it would be amazing. It would be an amazing, amazing trip.
I think so. I know some people that camp there. They go there every year, kind of.
You
They
can
just
camp there?
in the area somewhere. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they go down there and they camp in a tent and just enjoy the time there. I'm like, oh, it's a couple, and they do it every year and their wedding thing or something. And I'm like, huh, never thought of that, to go.
Right?
But that's what they like, so that's cool.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now, while we were sitting here talking, my phone decided to work. And I guess it was Steve, and I don't know what he's doing. I sent him a link, so he might be out shopping, Jason.
It's getting those Hot Wheels.
Let's see. Yeah. Let me see what he's doing. But I do. And Steve and I have talked about that. Steve's like, man, we should go to Gettysburg. Now, he lives a little closer to it than I do, I think. But
He's up by me. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a very interesting trip. There was another place that I've always wanted to go, and I used to say it all the time, and I can't remember where they had like the witch trials and different stuff like that.
I'm going to slaughter the word Massachusetts. Is
that where it is?
Salem. It's Salem. Yeah, I've been up that way.
Hi, Ivy.
Yeah, I've been up in there. I just can't say the state. I've been to the state many times, even seen Plymouth Rock, but I cannot pronounce it to save my life. So
I've always wanted to go there. They say there is a lot of activity there. And I think that back in those days when they used to have the witch trials, I think what it was, there may have been some people there that would say back in that day, oh, I'll put a curse on you. But I think a lot of it was people that had abilities that people didn't understand.
Right.
And so they took it as if, oh, they're evil, they're demonic, they're a witch, they see this. So I think that like in this day and age, if it was a repeat, people would understand more of what was going on. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of witchery that goes on out there. We all know this.
Oh, yeah.
But
definitely.
I don't think that a lot of it was that. And I think that those are the spirits that they keep around is the ones that, they really didn't have a reason to die.
No.
Hi, Kiki. How are you today?
She must have liked your bone. I also read something back then, too, of like a theory of some of the guys had ate some mushrooms. And they were the magic mushrooms, hallucinations, thinking that they were causing and doing witchcraft or seeing things, and then decided to, go after them too. And I'm like, wow, that could kind of make sense too in a way,
Yeah, because they didn't really know about, like we know now.
Right.
People turn around and say shrooms, huh? Or we know that there are actually mushrooms that grow out of the ground that can cause somebody to hallucinate.
Right.
Okay? So we know this now. Back then, they didn't know anything about or didn't call it drugs. Like they might have smoked marijuana that grew freely, you know,
Yeah.
that there's a good possibility of that. But I don't think that they knew, you know, exactly what drugs were back in the, what was it? I think the 1700s that was going on.
Yeah, they didn't know as much, you know, like the Native Americans know the plants and stuff, but
True.
they weren't with them, you know, because
Right.
oh geez, you're savages, you
No,
don't
I'm
dress like
sorry.
that.
I think people would have benefited a heck of a lot more
Yeah.
by being kosher and involved with the Native Americans.
Well, they did at first when they first came, you know, with the Iroquois, because that's where actually some of our Constitution is part of, is from the Iroquois nations, and how they had the democracy and how they did it. It's just, you know, we took it and I don't know, changed a lot and made it right
Yeah,
for them, and here we are.
here we are. But I used to, when I lived in Arizona, I used to date a Native American, and his mom was just awesome. And they lived on the reservation.
Mm.
And he used to take me over there all the time. And they were just a really great bunch of people. And the elders there that they had were so interesting to sit and talk to. Um, so my thought on that is, like I've always thought, I think that if people would have actually paid more attention to the Native Americans, I really think that they would have learned more. I really believe that society as a whole back in that time and then some would have probably been better people,
Definitely.
you
I
know.
I mean, because they, you know, it's like you're in a new place. These people been here. They know how to navigate the place. Why don't you
Right.
get to know them so they can show you, you know? I
And
mean,
and think about it. You know, they say that they used to go on what did they call them? Like spiritual walks, and they would be gone for days.
mhm.
Now, why did they do that? They did that. They would fast while they were doing it. They were taking their smoke with them. They would be out there to learn themselves, which is exactly what people say now. You need to meditate and you need to fast. And
Mhm.
who do we speak to while we're doing that? Jesus, the
Yeah.
Father.
It's
So
the same. And
basically, it is.
I do too, because I do have Native American in me. I mean, I'm mixed with I'm an American mutt, I call myself, because it's just like I've got, you know, it's quite a few here and there, but I do have that in me too. And I've always respected and honored that ever since I was a kid, and my best friend growing up, their family, and we used to tell people that I was adopted, you know, and they're like, "How do you know?" And I'm like, "Look, I've got blonde hair, fair skin, and they're darker skin and dark hair." You know, I mean, that's kind of but yeah, so and I learned a lot of stuff. I've been on I've been through some sweat lodge ceremonies, and the funny thing is a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people think that they worship, and it's just like, well, if you listen to them, they know about God too. They just call him creator. It's
Yeah.
just a different name, you
Yeah.
know. It's the same thing. It's just, and they know the energy exchange. They know give and receive, you know, not just take, or give, and then you're the,
Yeah.
you know, they respect and honor the land and spirits. So they
Yeah.
don't have hauntings and whatnot.
They do. They do. I mean, they respect lands that they're on, which is good. Um, they also, from what I'm to understand, the way it was with Toby was, they do respect their dead.
Oh yeah.
Um, they have a lot of respect. They respect the animals in the forest. Um, Now, however, they are also the ones that can see. different things like the cryptids,
Oh yeah.
you know. Um, so I just love them as a whole. I really do. I just think that their culture is just sometimes really amazing.
Yeah, it is. And it's the respect of um knowing that just because the body is not here, but their family is still, and it's a lineage, and they do the 7 years, 7 year
Yep.
generation. So 7 years back, you're connected 7 years back. So
Yes.
they live for 7 years forward. From this time, you do what you do for each generation, seven forward, to do, and respect what the 7 generations did. If there was something bad that happened within those 7 generations, you need to figure it out. They work on it, they release it or pray on it and make sure, I feel like we don't look so far back on ours, and we don't look too forward either. It's just kind of like, I wish things would change. I wish things would be this and that, and complain, and or
Yeah.
they're too
Now,
busy.
and Texas brings up a really good point that they know that respect goes a long way. And you know what? That is one thing that we are lacking today.
Yes, ma'am.
Some people say that respect is something that they want, and respect is not given. It is earned.
That
I
is right, Brenda. Respect is earned.
Yeah. Are you shopping?
I am. Yes.
Right. But I do. I just,
No,
huh?
I shouldn't say. I shouldn't say it.
Uh-oh. But we were just talking
shouldn't say
about
it.
like the Native American culture, and how they respect lands, and how I think that we as a whole would have learned a whole lot from them. Um, and what we did learn from them, a lot of people took that and turned it kind of bad, and it's disappointing to me because now okay, so they say a lot back in the day. You had your cowboys and Indians, right? And they would go around and they would scout people, and they pictured them as like savages. But think about nowadays how we know our history has been so screwed up for so long, and we've been lied to about it, everything else. So what I have found is everything they said was bad actually was a good thing. So can you blame Indians for acting like they did? Because I'm going to bet that the cowboys weren't innocent.
No.
So I'm just saying, because looking at it now, our history. I mean, I had somebody turn around and say, "Well, they're not teaching the kids history in school." Well, you know what? Our history was nothing but a lie anyway, so maybe it's a good thing. I
Yeah.
think that they need to start teaching the real history of this country and the history of other countries, because I believe that if they can do it right, people will see, well, how screwed up the powers to be can be.
Sometimes they can't take it till they don't see it till it happens to them, and then they believe it, because there's some, I don't know, I felt like I've been talking about things long ago, and nobody wanted to hear, or they, you're goofy, you're crazy, you're making stuff up. Money.
I like the whole conspiracy thing, but then if you sit down now and you watch the way some things are unfolding,
Yeah.
all the conspiracy stuff is coming true.
It is true, and it's funny,
And
because
I'm going to tell you, and it pisses them off. It pisses them off because, oh my God, all those crazy people were right.
well,
What happened?
You know what I saw today or yesterday? That submersible that was like looking at the Titanic that they said imploded. They found parts of that ship out of that like submersible. It's entire pieces, like they just came off the manufacturing line.
Wow.
If it was imploded, it would have a bunch of dents in it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
And they said they had like a spike, like an explosion happened on the audio radar stuff, and that happened like a day or two before the reported implosion. So I'm sure we'll find out more about that. But there's
Yeah.
conspiracies going on. People just accept that it's the sub just imploded on itself, and they used a little Logitech game controller to navigate themselves.
When I see something like that, the first thing I'm asking is who was on that? Who was on that? How wealthy were they? And what were they into? Those are the first things I ask. I don't ask nothing about, oh, well, were the components off? Did this go out? Why did it explode? Did it explode because I want to know who was on it, what they were into, and how rich they actually were. Because what did they say? Follow the money is something that we should do for everything. Even what Susie said in the chat. The white people started with the scalping because they would get money. Money. There's that damn money for Indian scalps.
That's so gross, but true.
Everything leads to money. And it's, it's sickening. My little brother used to say all the time, Brenda, I think that we should go back to trading different goods with sweet potatoes, trading goods for goods. Well, you have bread here. I have this ham. Take it. Give me the bread. Just trade. And I have a thrift shop down here. Never seen one like it before. These people will actually, if you find something in there you like, and they tell you, well, if you have this, or this, I'll trade you. And they do it that way. And it's a straight across trade. I have never seen that in my life.
That's cool.
And it's a Jamaican shop. And it's really cool. But people make things, when it comes to money, they make things it's so greedy. It's absolutely greedy.
It is. I found out that most people that have less are ones that are willing to offer to help more than those that have more.
Yeah.
Because I've always been, never had a whole lot of money, just enough to get by,
Right.
But always helping. And I was in a restaurant one time where I saw, it was like one of the fancy restaurants where there was a lady I didn't know in the bathroom sitting there, the towel lady and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is her job. Oh, this is a horrible job for this woman. And I see this lady who came out and she had a mink on. She had, you name it.
Oh, one of those, huh?
Oh, and she opened up her little clutch purse, got out a couple of change. And now I can't remember. Oh, I was working as a receptionist at a dentist's office at the time. And I'm like, okay, and I'm on a date and I'm digging through and I found a couple of bucks and handed it to the lady. And she's like, oh, I appreciate it. And I said, I just work down, and down the road in a dentist's office.
Yeah.
I'm just a receptionist, but
I've done that. I mean, when I lived in Arizona, it gets 120 degrees out there in the summertime. And I was going into a store one day and there was a homeless woman sitting outside and she had bare feet. So I kind of looked at her feet a little bit. I went inside and I didn't have a lot of money, but I did pick her up a pair of flip-flops. So she could put something on her feet so she wasn't walking around the hot concrete.
Yeah.
I will not give straight up money to homeless people because I'm afraid they're going to buy alcohol or whatever with it. But if they tell me they're hungry, I'll go buy them food.
Right.
We had a guy that used to stand on the corner of the bridge that went from Laughlin, Nevada to Bullhead City, Arizona. And he used to sit out there with a sign that said, hell, why lie? I want a beer.
Oh my God.
You know how much beer they would buy this guy by the end of the day? Because
he was honest.
Honest. Exactly. And it's like, I've had problems with my phone. It's just really bad. So the other night I got a message from an old friend of mine. I've known him since, God, I think 7th grade, maybe even longer than that. And he lived next door to my grandmother. Good guy. And he messages me because I put a thing in the chat that if anybody was trying to reach me, my phone is not doing too good right now. So I might get a message, I might not get a message. So he sends me a message and says, hey, I have a Android sitting around that I'm not using. You want me to mail it to you? And I'm like, that might be a good idea.
Nice.
It might really be a good idea. And he works hard, and he's had back surgery, so he's limited. Him and his wife don't have a whole lot of money. But just the fact that he offered it to me, and I was like, you know what, Phil, let me tell you something. You are a good friend. You are a longtime friend, and you are a good friend.
That's
And
awesome.
it's like, you're right. A lot of people that don't have a lot are the ones that are more apt to help people that don't have much. And, it's hard right now. I mean, things are starting to go down. I keep hearing that they're going to raise SSI. Sitting here with my fingers crossed because
I missed that one.
because SSI now, it's like the bare minimum. Like I said, I make 900. Well, it's 960 a month now. My rent's $850.
Right. That's why I live where I live.
Yeah, and
it's like
cut me a freaking break, man. And then now they want to raise the rent.
Of course they
So,
do.
of course they do.
I had that happen where they did that. I mean, they jacked it up higher than people's mortgages. I had to go.
Yeah. It's ridiculous because it keeps you to that point where you're down so much that you cannot save to get up out of that hole.
No, it's a perpetual circle of, and then you got people going, wow, I wish that they could do this and this. Well, we're trying, but they got this like leverage of keeping you.
And Susie,
Yes.
Susie, huh? What?
I was saying that's how it is for me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm doing my eBay sales, but like prices are going up everywhere. I can't afford housing. I can't even afford to purchase a vehicle. I'm using other vehicles in my family right now. Family I'm relying on in order to get by.
Right.
And this isn't something that should be happening. Really, like.
And
it's so crazy. Yeah, the financial situation, and it's not going to change because it's fiat, and fiat is designed to inflate.
Yeah.
So no matter what, everything's always going to go up for infinity until the system crashes.
Yep.
So,
well, it definitely needs to crash. And Susie found me a 3-bedroom, 2-bath out there by her, and it's for the same price I pay for this 1-bedroom.
Oh.
Okay. Which is
great.
It's great. I would love to, but I can't save the money to do the deposits. I have to have somebody come and help pack up and move. That cost. When my daughter did it, my daughter had a company go in and help them pack everything up and put it in a Connex, and then they moved the Connex for them. That cost her, I think it was like $1,500, almost $2,000 to have somebody come in and pack her place up. And so they make it to where you stay on the bottom and good luck, sink or swim.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with the crashing, that needs to happen. I mean, it's going to suck for a little while for everybody, but
this leads into what you were saying before with the bartering system.
Mm-hmm.
When the dollar crashes, that is what will take place, is us bartering items for a significant period of time, and that includes precious metals.
Yes.
Because there won't be any dollar to base the price of gold and silver on. It's just going to be going by the ounces at that point.
Right.
or fractions of ounces, grams.
Yeah.
We're going to be like a bunch of drug dealers. I need 20 grams of silver.
Oh my gosh.
I need a cup of rice. Do you got any beans? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I do know. I know where this country went wrong. And that was way back in the day, the minute they let the people that have all the money in the world, your Rothschilds, JP Morgan, BlackRock, Vanguard, they've been around forever. And it's almost like they have so much money that they enjoy doing things in a way to watch the little people scramble because they have nothing better to do with their time. And it really sucks. And if I lived closer to any of them, I would be like knocking on their door saying, hey, I'm moving in here because, you created this mess. Now you got to support me.
Yeah.
Yep.
They probably have a big house with lots of rooms. You can
Empty rooms. Empty rooms, bathrooms. Don't the Rothschilds?
Yeah.
They have a home in Antarctica.
What?
Yes.
I didn't hear that one.
Spot out there. Steve and I found that when we were looking at stuff around the world.
I did not know that. That's a new one.
You got to look at Antarctica again.
Yeah.
Oh, I was listening to some things about that some today, but not that. That's cool.
Oh yeah, we late at night when everybody's asleep and when I'm awake and Steve's awake, sometimes we'll just jump on backstage and we'll just do stupid crap. We'll go looking for something. We'll go just to look,
Hey, that's how you learn. Find things.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's how Exploring the Unseen started.
Yeah.
Because we were just like goofing around, and it's like, this would make a really good like series.
Yeah.
We just go look at Google Maps on all this stuff.
We just right now it's kind of hard because Steve is doing a whole lot, so he doesn't have a lot of time with it. And then
I'm going to be at 4 shows.
You're going to be at 4 shows.
4 a week. Sunday to give like a debrief on everything, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday are the deep dives.
Aha. Did you ever end up doing the live for the last of the old Chicago film?
No, part 3 is going to be Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And I just did part 6 of Bermuda Triangle today. And that one about 2 hours. There's some updates on the Tom Alta stuff I talked about in it. And other than that, I got Sunday for like the debrief, like I said, and then I want to start exploring the monetary system, like we've been talking about. I have End of Side by Ron Paul. I have another book called The Rockefeller Syndrome.
Yeah.
And the third book called The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Oh.
Which is the story of the creation of the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
So this all goes back to that. It's like the 1913 President Woodrow Wilson. He messed everything up, and he didn't like rescind anything Lincoln did with like the income tax for the Civil War. We still have the same income tax, but we're not in Civil War. It's been over 160 years.
Yeah.
And that stuff kind of pisses me off. Because it's like, why? They're just, like, no one questioned it.
Yeah, there was a lot of that went on. Nobody questioned. That's why I said a lot of times people get so angry. Well, the government did this, and now we're finding out they did that. The thing of it is they did it. They put it in the people's faces, and all we said was stupid government. Nobody did anything about it.
No, or they're too busy
complained.
Working, having fun, doing vacations. People were busy, and now everyone was made to sit down 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Made to sit down, stop what they're doing. And I looked at it as it was time like, okay, what did you guys learn? Sit down now. it's a timeout for everybody. Just sit and think about it, and let's see how we're going to come back out of this. And
I think they kind of screwed up doing that with the whole planned little
Yeah,
demo
that.
there, because it gave people a lot of time to sit down and reflect on a lot of things.
well, that's what
And then
people
people
need.
started paying attention to different things, and they were like, wait a minute.
Well, that's what I looked at it as that's what people needed to do, is to be able to pay
Yes,
attention.
they did.
Because, but yet they're going, man, now, screaming, yelling, I can't believe this happened. Well, because you guys weren't paying attention. You were doing everything like they wanted you to, shopping, spending money, credit card debt, vacations, work, family, friends. What happened? And then when everyone had to sit down, they're like, oh my gosh, what happened? And it's like, you guys weren't paying attention.
That's when I mainly found the internet. I was like, wait a minute here. And I started watching different shows, and I was like, interesting. But yeah, I'm going to start doing more shows this week. I've had a pretty rough last month. I ended up going to the foot doctor again day before yesterday, and they did some stuff to my feet or my foot. I say feet like I have to. So, but I am starting to feel a lot better. So I want to start doing more shows and getting into detail in some of this stuff. And I need to get a hold of Mark, because I want to find some more political stuff. I like talking to Mark about political stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen him on the show, Sherry Mark from the show.
He's good. He's really good.
He's awesome.
He really is. He's a nice
and then my other political guy is Michael Anthony.
Yes,
so,
I know him. I've known Michael Anthony like a long time ago, listening to him, forgot. And then when you had him back on, I'm like, oh, I remember him.
Him and I have been friends for quite a long time. I love him to death. He is great. But I really like talking political with him. And he has got so much information to put out that it's outstanding. So I do want to start doing more shows during the week. I got to get things back up again. We've kind of done a little bit of slacking here and there, but it's because of me. I've had some real serious type problems going on, and some things have been really hard for me lately, but I am starting to feel better, and I'm missing the shows. I'm missing our people. So I really want to get back into doing some stuff. And there's a lot of really good people out there that I have come on, Dennis Carroll, Abe, all of them. And I really love sitting and talking to them. I actually really like to listen to them. And lately it's been hard for me to catch Abe's shows, because he's got such a calming voice that I'll put it on my phone and lay down, and before you know it, I'm asleep, and I'll wake up to Jesse laughing, and I'll be like, and the show will be almost over, and I'm like, oh my God. But it's funny because they'll mention me in the chat. Huh?
That show definitely has a vibe to it.
Oh, yeah.
Like Abe gets into story mode, but it's just really soft talk. It's like ASMR. Welcome.
I love them. They're really good people. And
yeah, they're a good team to do a show together too.
Yes. And the people in their chat are outstanding. And they are really good people, and they're so warm and they're so welcoming. Unless you're a troll. If you troll, you're gonna get knocked out. And that's the way it should be in any show. I actually do that for another show between midnight and 2 a.m. I've been going over, and I don't have to listen to the show. I just watch the chat. So I'll put Abe's show on a lot of times and just listen to Abe's show, and I'll just keep an eye on the chat, because it's a very big universe this show is. And there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of trolls. They try to dox people, all this stuff. So, and on the one show, I am the only mod they have. And so it's one of those really intense, I have to watch it. And the bad thing about it is by the end of the stream, I'm like up here like this with my eyes squinted because my eyes are so bad. No matter what glasses I try to wear, I can't read after so long. It's horrible. So, but I laugh at it. It's fun. It's not really a show for everybody, but you know, it is what it is. But I know a few people over there that do that show, and they asked me if I'd come be a mod. I said, "Are you sure? Because I can be a real bitch." And they're like, "Yes, that's what we need." I'm like, "Okay." But so I do that. But I really I miss Abe's show. I really love sitting and listening to him and Jesse. It's great. And like I said, their chat is amazing. You know, we have a lot of good people in our chat too. And, you know, people will say, well, yeah, but you know, you only got like 304 subscribers. I don't care. You know what? We love our little show. You know, we absolutely love it. And
I'll say this much, Brenda, you have such a small channel, but yet you have more viewers and engagement than my channel that's 10 times as large as yours.
Wow.
And that's just statistics, numbers. It shouldn't even make sense. But you have a lot more followers, and like, I really wonder about the shadow banning, because like notifications,
Yeah.
I don't think are going out to my viewers. But we do get like 100 views on some of the episodes that we do.
right.
But like I said, it's not about the views or anything. Like,
Right.
I enjoy coming here, and like when I'm not on here with you guys, I do like being in the chat and talking to everyone.
Yeah.
And then some of you watching here come over to watch my channel, and I really appreciate that. And it's nice. It's a good community that we got.
Yeah. And, you know, and the bad thing about it with my phone not working correctly, a lot of times I have my computer off, and if my phone's not working, I don't get notifications. Like, it surprised me today. I turned my phone on and it turned on. And the first thing that popped up was Tommy was doing a live stream. And I jumped in there to say hi because I was getting ready to go take a shower to get ready for this tonight. And I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing. So, but a lot of times I don't get the notifications unless I turn my phone on and it stays on for me. Kind of sucks, you know, but I do the best I can. But we love our little show. We love our people that come over here and watch. You know, every now and then I might have a little bit of a problem with one person here or there, but we've learned how to get rid of that person pretty quick. And it works out great. I mean, everybody in these communities, you know, and I know I'm going to be just like Abe. Abe will not monetize his channel because he doesn't care if he gets paid for doing his thing or not. I don't either. It's not about the money. It's about the people and the connection and, you know, the information. And that's what it's about. And people that start going on it for, you know, money all over the place all the time, that's all it is. I've noticed that with that big show that I watch. It's like people are just cash cows. You know, they make donations for people to shave their head, or they make donations for somebody to eat cat food, or they, you know, but it's a money aspect. And I understand it. It's a business. It's entertainment. That's what they do. But not me, you know. I like what we do. And I am going to start doing more shows. It's not even going to be just 2 shows a week. I'm going to try. I know a lot of times Susie can't come, but Sherry's going to come and help. And, you know, it's better than us sitting around at home, twiddling our thumbs and probably eating potato chips. The way I look at it.
There you
I'm
go.
going to eat them. But yeah.
You like tried some potato chips that were cooked in avocado oil.
Oh, those are
And They are so addicting.
They're
Oh,
good.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, oh,
What
they're good.
potato chips are that? What's that? What are they called,
What's-
Steve?
I don't
Say that again?
The potato chips. What are they called?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to look again.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jason.
There's like a big green stripe on it that says avocado oil.
Yeah. Jason, you probably can eat
Just-
potato chips, but me, on the other hand, I really shouldn't. I'm not saying I don't, but I really shouldn't. But that sounds good. Potato chips in avocado oil. I use olive oil for a lot of things now. I don't use regular vegetable oil. That's junk.
Yeah, they're baked. They're baked with avocado oil. That's how the chips come. Is already baked in they're good. I've had them. I can't think of the name either. But they're just potato chips.
Are they from that Kettle company?
They might be one of them. Yeah, the kettle chips. I'm drawing a blank on what the name is. I don't buy potato chips that much, but boy, do they sound good right now. And I don't know what you're talking about. Jason mentions potato chips, and it's like
Potato chips. What? Potato chips. And then Steve had to tell us about the avocado ones. Damn it,
those
Steve.
are good too.
I would eat the entire bag with zero guilt.
I bet.
It was like that good. It tasted that good to me.
The
Like,
entire
right on
bag. Like, what did I have the other day? Well, I get every once in a while, and I can find them in the store down here, and I call them magical cupcakes. And the reason why is because I'm not sure how they're made, but they don't use a lot of sugar at all. Because when I eat them, I can eat 2 of them. It doesn't move my sugar at all. At all. Because I'll eat them and then I'll wait 2 hours and check my sugar. Not a budge. And so I sit there and I think, God, I wonder what they're making this with. Because this is amazing. Because I can satisfy a halfway sweet tooth, but not get that sugar that raises me. And then I have to go and take insulin and all this other crap. So it's really good.
Sounds good.
Jason said he's heard of magic brownies. So have I, Jason.
Oh yeah, magic brownies.
I've partaked in a couple of those at one particular point in time in my life when I was younger. Yes.
I made some vegan ones and some other ones.
My friends, when I was growing up, they were crazy because when I used to go to house parties, I've had people give me, oh, hey, you want some iced tea? It's homemade. Yeah. Sit there and drink 2 or 3 glasses, and I'm good till I try to stand up, and then I'm on the floor, and I'm like, what the hell was in that? They're like, oh, slow gin.
Oh, no.
So slow gin and iced tea, you never know it's there. Be careful.
Ew. I'm not much of
Yeah.
a drinker. I was a bartender and I served, but I didn't. I wasn't much of a drinker.
I didn't think I was drinking till I stood up. Literally, you can't taste it in there. And you know, they would make hash brownies. First time I ever heard of that.
Around here, it's because they have the hash bash. They've had the hash bash since that guy was arrested, and I don't know if it's before I was born or not. So around here in Ann Arbor, it's always been normal, kind of. You know, it's never been a woo-woo. Like if kids back in the day had a bag, they only got a $5 ticket. You know, and the cops are like, you know. But now Michigan's been. So that's nothing. You can go everywhere. I mean, now I'm seeing things where I've seen a guy that you would never think, you know, an older man, nice dress, nice this and that. Next thing you know, I'm like, is he smoking? You know, and he's outside just poking down. And I'm like, wow, it's really weird now than what it was when I was younger to, you know, now you got all ages, all types of people that it's like, you're the ones that used to pick on people. But now it's okay.
Now, Jason says that Michigan is really great for the weed scene.
It is.
But I hear that Washington State is too. But I lived there for a little while in Spokane, and there's something wrong with those people.
Could be the water.
Just saying. I mean, I did. I had it.
The people in Colorado, there's something wrong with them too.
Yeah. And I dated a guy when he got out of the military. He said, well, I want to move back home. Hi, Norma. I want to move back home. And I said, okay, well, have a good trip. He goes, no, you need to come with me. I'm like, well, where are we going? He said, Seattle, Washington. I went, all right, I'll try it. I ain't never been there. Oh, I was not impressed. You think there is stupid stuff that happens in Walmart and late at night, in the middle of the night, or parents? You can walk into a grocery store in Seattle, Washington, and them people are stark raving freaking crazy.
Oh,
I either they smoke too much weed or they need to smoke some.
No,
One of the two.
It's more than just weed. My daughter-in-law's friend lives out there. And when she comes back to visit family, they party. I mean, drugs galore, not just weed. It's the whatever rave stuff and whatever else that they.
And when I finally let my ex said he grabbed his snowboard. I'm going with a friend. I'm gonna go snowboarding. Okay, you go do that. Good luck. He comes back and I find out that he went snowboarding with his drug dealer. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
What are you talking about? You've been in the military. What are you talking? And it was not weed.
Oh.
I'm like, dude, I can't. I just can't with you.
No, when people are in the hard stuff, it's no. I've seen too much of people that can't come back, or when they've tried to recover, and it's not good. I saw what Norma said. It was funny.
The other day I was watching, and you know what? This predictive programming stuff really works. They really need to program opposite of what they've been doing to try to fix some people's heads. But I was sitting here the other day and I was watching something, and it's like every other commercial was about donuts. And I got up and I went into the bedroom and I says, Jack, you need to go get some donuts. He goes, why? I said, I don't know. I just want some.
They do. They get you.
Then we're driving and I see a advertisement for Denny's, and you get this Grand Slam and you get another one for like $1, and I'm like, ooh, eggs and bacon and oh my gosh, pancakes. Yeah. So it works, man. I'm just saying.
Yes, some of the food stuff, or someone's talking about it.
Really? A stevia? That
Oh, I don't like that stuff. That's got a weird taste.
Sugar stuff?
It's substitute for sugar. They have it in different. I can taste that in any drink or any powder that I do not like that taste.
Yeah, she said it's like a natural birth control.
Huh. I didn't hear that one. That's kind of cool. But
well, that would be better than what else they do.
Yeah, I know.
I never heard of that before. That it's birth control. I was going to ask you, Brenda, if you use stevia at all.
No. I use monk fruit, or I use honey in my tea, monk fruit in my coffee, or every now and then, if I'm out of that, I use Splenda, which I don't think is any better, but that monk fruit is real good. That is good.
I've had that before. It's pretty good. Have you had agave syrup? It's like a plant. It's a sweetener too, a substitute for sugar and honey, and it's got a good taste to it. It's agave. It's AV. something.
I've
They
never
usually have
had
it. Yeah, they
I've
have it
had
at
that
Walmart.
before. It's like honey.
Yeah,
really.
it's good. I like it. I like putting it in. Sometimes I'll substitute it for sugar for recipes or something when I've made stuff.
Norma said it's a sweetener from the plant stevia.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't like stevia. That's got a weird. It's the agave's got a sweet. I don't. To me, that's just.
well, it's a natural birth control. It's gonna taste. It's gonna taste funny. I mean, we have nothing, people. We have nothing that we can eat or drink that is sacred, that we could have and it not be bad for us, do things to us. It's like, I seen a thing like bananas. I love bananas. I should have them. It helps keep my kidneys functioning, right? Then I seen a thing where they showed me what a real banana looks like
Oh
and
no!
what our bananas here look like. And apparently, a real banana is not very big and it's actually brown and it has seeds inside of it.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. It's ridiculous. You can't, they're doing stuff to the meats, they're doing stuff to the vegetables, they're doing stuff to the fruits. What do we have left? Go outside and chew the grass? Well, that doesn't work because everything that's in the air falls on the grass. I mean,
Yeah, I was going to say we have our plants that we can grow at home, but we have to keep them indoors because
Yeah.
they're spraying off them. I did an experiment last year where I planted a whole bunch of Thai chili peppers, and I brought like 5 or 6 of the plants outside, and they stopped growing.
Wow.
They produced peppers, but they stunted their growth. They stopped at where they were at when I put them out. Everything indoors grew humongous. They're still producing peppers to this day. Like I harvested 2.
Nice.
yeah, what does that tell you? It tells you if I'm going to grow anything like that, I better have a greenhouse. It's gotta be
Yes.
a greenhouse. So Jason says, have you ever seen the bananas that grow with the jelly-like center?
Ew. No.
Ew. No, I would probably think they were raw, they were bad, and I'd throw them away. I've done that. I've gotten bananas and just barely took one off, and it tasted like straight up dirt and pesticide, and I threw the whole bundle away right after I bought them. So our world is ridiculous. Well, I can't say the world because we have countries that they won't take any of our food because of what we put in it. and I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe I need to live somewhere else because it seems to be the only way you're going to get away with it. Steve and I were looking at that. We were looking at these really cool places like that were next to waterfalls. Beautiful, beautiful. Steve's like, yep, we put a house right here.
We just got to go to Bosnia. Yeah, let's go to the Balkan Mountains and just get a house in the 1,400 feet elevation mountains.
Right? That's about it. Because you just can't. I mean, no more. You can't have anything. You know, you can't trust your medications that you need. You can't trust the foods that you eat. You can't trust going anywhere. And good God, you can't trust these crazy people anymore. It's ridiculous.
You better stay home. You better stay home.
Right? That's what I do. I just stay home, lock my doors, draw my curtains. Nobody's home. It's ridiculous. I mean, and I don't mind staying home. I used to be the type of person that I was never home. I worked and went after work. I never came straight home. I always went up and met up with people, went to breakfast, did this, did that. I was lucky to get 3 to 4 hours of sleep before I had to get up and do it all over again. And I would do this all week long. As things happened to me, it kind of slowed me down. Now, I still like to do things, but now it makes it hard because, well, I don't drive anymore. And so I have to rely on somebody else. And then I have to make sure that people want to do that. If they don't want to do that, then, I mean, I've been taken places and dropped off and sat around with some of my friends and just chitter-chattered, but I'm nothing like I used to be. I was always on the go. Always. I was a very hard person to pin down. If I didn't have a cell phone, you didn't talk to me because I never stayed in one place. I was everywhere.
I was like
It was
that.
crazy.
I'm busy.
And I'm talking, I was doing this still in my 50s.
Oh, I
Okay.
was doing it up until 6 years ago when I,
Yeah.
had the fun, whatever happened to hear.
Yep. It's crazy. And I sit and I think about what I used to be like, and I'm thinking to myself, no wonder why my body freaking hurts all the time. I run around and act like a monkey. What was I thinking?
You were just having fun.
It was crazy. But I had, I can honestly say there is one good thing about my whole entire journey of my life. I learned things because of the bad that happened to me, and I learned how to deal with it, but I met a lot of great people on the way. Absolutely. If I had a chance to do things over again, even with what happened to me and losing my leg, I don't think I would ever change anything, because I'm a lot better person now than I was 20 years ago. So, and I like who I am now. And I have that attitude where I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm not here to impress one person. So, like me, hate me, I don't care. It don't matter to me. It is what it is.
You're not alone. I think that way. And I've heard others. So.
Yeah. So it's like me and I had somebody ask me the other day, so what man you got laying in your bed? I said a 2-year-old long-haired Chihuahua. And that's the only man that's allowed in my bed. Period. He snores like a grown man. He snuggles like a grown man. He's a good puppy.
He's all I need.
I know, right? It's all I need. Comforts.
Yeah.
Mr. Putin. That's it. He's staring at me because I said his name. He's like laying on my pillows like, what? What?
Because I'm here for you.
Oh, yeah, he's keeping the pillows warm.
Yes.
In about an hour and a half, he'll be like over here, woofling at me, wanting me to go to bed. He runs my life. I'm going to tell you. My dog tells me when it's time to eat, and if I try to feed him and I'm not eating at the same time, he won't touch his food. He tells me when it's time to go to bed. He has to go to the bathroom with me, and he chases the other dog out of there, and God forbid if the cat tries to get in there. When I take a shower, he's in there. He's laying on the floor. He's running off with my socks. He's doing all kinds of stupid things. He is like the best friend I have ever had.
You must know Kiki, because Kiki, everything you described, that's what she pretty much does. So.
Yeah. This dog does not leave my sight. When I went to the doctor, it kills him whenever I have to go to the doctor and he can't be in there. So when I went in, they were doing some work on my foot. So Jack took him out, because if he was messing with, the doctor was messing with my foot, if he hurt me, we didn't know how he would act, because he's always over there up in everybody's business when I have him with me at the hospital. What are you doing? What are you touching? Why are you doing that? So he took him out. Well, he couldn't keep him out there very long because he started grunting and moving around and staring at the door. And so he came back in with him, and the doctor was laughing. But the first thing he did when he got back on that platform on my chair, started smelling my foot. Somebody's touched you. Well, who touched you? It's like, wow. I am his property, apparently.
She's
It's
mine.
great.
Can't have her.
Right?
Yeah. So.
It's crazy. But guys, tomorrow night we have a show at 9 p.m. Central. Monica B is going to be on. Susie should be here also. And I don't have anything planned for Saturday, but I think Sherry and I are going to try to throw a show together on Sunday. So let's see. Is Putin like? I don't let him because, like, when I go to get out of the shower and I dry off, I put lotion on me, and I don't like him doing that. But at night, if he's not laying on my shoulder, Norma, right here, he'll put his butt back here and he lays across my shoulder. If he's not doing that, then he wants to be on my right side, underneath the covers, up against me. But he wants my arm down there so he can squeeze in between my arm and lay on it, and then he'll sit and lick the inside of my elbow until he gets ready to go to sleep. I don't know why he does that. And he does it every time. Every time he lays by my side, I have to put my arm down there, and he snuggles up in it, and he'll scoot. It's so funny. He'll sit and scoot, and then he'll just sit and lick the inside of my elbow, and then when he gets tired, he'll put his head on my arm, and then he goes to sleep.
Aw.
He's so crazy.
You're his mom. Probably did that like to her, you know, the mom crawling in, getting all snuggly, finding a spot, and yep, you're the mom.
Norma says her dog likes to groom her. She goes, yuck. Now, my other dog, Tucker, I won't let him lick on me because, well, he's special. And when he licks you, it's really wet.
Ew.
And
No,
I can't do it. I can't do it. I
No.
love him. He's actually a really good dog, but he's just got some issues. Whenever we boil something on the stove, he starts shaking and tiptoeing. And have you ever seen Scooby-Doo when Scooby-Doo tiptoes?
Yep.
Tucker does that.
Oh
He like tiptoes real slow through the house. And he's scared to death, and he's always trying to. I went in to use the bathroom the other day, and he was shaking, and he ran in the bathroom, went around Putin, and was trying to get up in my lap while I was sitting on the toilet. I'm like, dude, you're big. You can't do this. My God, what is wrong with you? He's got mental issues. Sometimes when we leave the house, an hour before we leave, I have to give him a calming treat.
Aw.
Because if not, I come home and he tears. Why they painted white sticky paint over a white metal door, I don't know. But my dog has tore half that shit off.
Oh, wow.
Because he goes crazy whenever we leave the house. But we can't take him anywhere. He barely knows how to act at home. He definitely don't know how to act in public.
Out in public. Nope, sorry. You can't go.
I mean, he doesn't. He did when he was real small, but now that he's older, he is something else. Drive me crazy in the car, panting and wanting to climb all over me. And then I got Putin, who sits up on my shoulder in the car because he thinks he's a freaking parrot and watches the world go by. And he's getting pissed off because the other one's trying to get in my lap. It's like controversy in my car if I try to take them both somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I can't do it.
Poor Tucker. He's just.
And like I said, the only reason why he was still around is because he is a good dog. He really is. He just doesn't know how to act. And I can't fault him for that.
No.
I think he was mistreated before I got him because he was in bad shape when I got him. So
Yeah.
but he is a good dog.
He's getting the love that he needs now. That's
And
all.
and I used to think, when he gets older, maybe he'll grow out of it, right?
No, that's his
He's almost 8 years old. Are you kidding? He's worse.
I think that's hers because she's afraid of people. Like she's gotten comfortable with all the the other people in the house.
Right.
But yeah, when I take her outside still, because it's getting warmer and people are outside, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" and then goes bolting for the house, and It's like, come on, we got to be able to go. Tomorrow she's getting her nails done. Last time I drove her, she was like all freaking out, and I've got her up here. I'm like, I can't be driving like this. You got to get over there. And just,
Well, and hence the reason why Putin is the only one that really goes everywhere with me.
right.
Because he sits up on my shoulder or he'll sit in my arms and he behaves himself. What he does not like, and he yells at Jack all the time, when Jack releases the brake and hits the gas, if it jerks him, he goes, ah!
Oh my
I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, what do you want to drive? You think you can do it better? So, but other than that, he's fun to take places because he's so good when he goes places that, and kids.
Oh
If
yeah.
he sees kids in the grocery store, that little tail starts a wagging and he's looking and looking at me like, can I go see the kid, mommy?
Aw, that's
Yeah, he
sweet.
likes kids, which kind of is odd because he's not around any really, but he likes them.
I thought would. I mean, she does. She tolerates my grandson, but I have to keep an eye on her because he starts his arms are up or something, and she's like, "Oh, perfect height," and wants
Yeah,
to.
I'm just going to jump up here and say hello to you so I'm your size.
I know it. And then he screams, and it's just like, oh, geez, and she's just going from having a black lab, where he used to sit on her. And he would sit on Miko and lay on her, and she just looked like, oh, God, to her, which you've seen, and how spazzy she can be and whatnot. And it's like totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, this one here, he's got manners. I took him, I went out to go see Susie, and we had gone to an Italian restaurant while we were there. And he just laid there and he would watch the waitress walk by. He lays with his paws under him and he'll just like sit there with his eyes and he'll just watch people walk by. And he was just he's on his best behavior when I take him. Now, when he's at home, he acts like a fool sometimes, but when he's in public, he very, very polite.
Well, he's allowed to at home. You're supposed to let loose at your own home.
Oh, yeah, and he does. Earlier today, I had my sock out to put on my foot. I sat it on my table, right? And so I was doing something, and I happened to see something out of the corner of my eye. Well, he got up on the table. He stole it. So I took my sock back, and I put it back up there, right? So I was sitting here doing something and trying to get everything ready, and I went to reach for my sock, and he had crawled up there and got it again. But this time he ran off with it, and I don't know where it's at. I have to move my bed because I'm going to bet that half of my socks are under my bed. He steals everything. Clean socks, a sock that I take off, anything he can get his hands on, he steals it and runs off with it.
Sounds like her, actually. Everything that you're.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, they sound quite similar. She does it because I'm like, what do you think? Well, you've seen her, how she gets up on the chair, she gets in the camera, she gets up and she'll go on stuff on the table. And I'm like, this is not yours. I journal. I have my journaling stuff. I have other things up here. It's like nothing for you, nothing. But she thinks she's a person.
That's true, Norma. He lets his guard down when he's at home. Not really. The neighbors can't shut their door or walk by or start their car because he's all up in their business and making it well known that he is in this house and he hears them. I'm kind of surprised they have not complained to the manager yet. We can't move. That dog next door barks at everything. Yeah, he does when he's at home. But when he's not at home, he's good. Doesn't bark at nobody. Doesn't bark at nothing. He's funny. But, well, everybody, I want to thank you all for coming and watching tonight. It's been fun. I've missed everybody. Everybody, please hit the thumbs up for us. And we will be here tomorrow night, like I said, with Monica B. And if I don't come up with anything Sunday, I'll be having a show. It might be a surprise. Not sure what it'll be yet, but it'll be a show. So, but until then, y'all, thanks again for coming. And y'all, like always, Please be kind to one another. Have a good night.
Goodbye for now, from Beyond the Box.
Please join us again for Beyond the Box, Friday and Saturday evenings, from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Join us for more intel bombs from our extraordinary guests.
Good night, Putin. Good night, Tucker.